What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Strickland and Manel Kape go back and forth. Recently, we covered how Strickland and Manel Kape went to war on X after Strickland once again trashed his manager Ali Abdelaziz. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. The exchange kicked off after Strickland went after Justin Gaethje for being managed by Ali Abdelaziz, and after he referenced Ali's history as an informant. Well, since that initial exchange went down, more social media shots have been fired. Here's what Kape followed up with. The problem is, you've convinced yourself you're a You're not. You were the one getting pushed around. You're an insecure guy who found confidence through MMA, and now mistakes a microphone for courage. Stop acting like a tough guy. Deep down, you know exactly who you are. That little scared girl. You grew up picking tomatoes and potatoes while I was already living the life you fantasize about. And Strickland fired back by writing, "You're an insecure guy who found confidence through MMA." Yeah, pretty much, lol. Kinda ironic of you to say since you have from PEDs. LMAO, I worked hard. You cheated and act like a You're right, we're not the same. Then a fan interjected and told Strickland that he couldn't understand how anyone can argue that he's not tough. And he responded writing, there is a little truth to that. The difference is, who I am and who I want to be is very different. I have a choice in who I am now versus 4 years old, lol. And of course, when the PED allegations got thrown into the mix, things escalated. If you need a refresher, back in 2022, Kape had a test result where a trace amount of the long-term metabolite of the steroid, dihydrochloromethyltestosterone, better known as DHCMT, was found. A scheduled fight with Sumadaji was called off as a result, but Kape has never been suspended. So in response to Strickland's PED jab, he posted this. So according to you, the UFC, USADA, and now Free Sport International have all been helping me cheat? Interesting theory. And Strickland stuck by the allegations, writing, "You had trace amounts in your system. Even if you're clean now, which is questionable, you clearly cheated your way to the UFC. How many careers did you ruin before the UFC because you're a cheater? These are the facts." And of course, it didn't end there. Kape responded, "The careers I ruined were with talent and natural knockout power, something you'll never have. That's why you need to scream PEDs every time someone hits harder than you. You couldn't even knock out a YouTuber. Take all the PEDs in the world. You'll still have pillow fists." But finally, the two ended the argument by at least telling each other to have a good one. Sean wrote, "LMAO, relax. Have a good one." And Manel responded, "I'm always relaxed, daddy's little girl. Have a good one." I'm sure we'll be updating you on this situation tomorrow. I doubt either of them will be able to put down the Twitter fingers for 24 hours. Conor McGregor sends a warning to Max Holloway. It's safe to say that people are skeptical of whether Conor McGregor will be the force he once was when he returns to the octagon to face Max Holloway. But according to McGregor himself, not only is he a better fighter than Holloway, he remains in his prime despite the fact that he turns 38 in July. While talking to UFC on Paramount, Conor predicted that he'll finish Holloway, unlike in their first fight in 2013, when he won by decision. Here's what he had to say. "It's gonna be a demolition. It's gonna be an absolute demolition. I know the damage he's taken. I know I will just have to touch him. And after that, it'll be clinical. A win alone is not just enough. It must be spectacular. And that it will be. I feel, at 27 years of age, I had the game conquered. I had the game wrapped up in a blink. I feel I'm coming into my prime now. I am only entering my prime. Max is a durable fighter with great skill. Not on my level, however. Mental-wise, physical-wise, Max has been a busybody in the game. In fact, he's got the most time spent inside the octagon. 8.5 hours, which is a staggering amount of time. For me, I kind of look at that saying, means you can't finish people, So if you're asking me what I have above him, speed, power, IQ, fitness, health, freshness. It's interesting that Conor thinks he'll have a speed advantage over Holloway. Do you agree? He also took a few pokes at Justin Gaethje and made it clear he would be more than willing to face the new lightweight champ. He said, "I look at my rest period that I've had, whereas I look at other comeback competitors in the space, including my opponent. I feel a lot more fresher than these opponents. I've had my time of rest, I feel I'm coming into my prime now. My prime is I'm only entering my prime, and now I'm forever." So that is my mindset going in here. And Charles Oliveira revealed in a new interview with Action Network that he was supposed to fight Conor next, but he chose to fight Max Holloway instead. He also said that Conor needs to get a finish early, otherwise Max will have an advantage with speed as the fight drags on. Here's what Charles had to say. He actually asked for the fight to be 3 rounds, and he picked the opponent because in reality everyone knows that fight was supposed to be against me, but he chose the opponent. That's part of the game. You've got to choose what you think is best for you. Honestly, I think the first round will tell us a lot. Max is a guy who's been going 5 rounds in his recent fights. He handles 5 rounds very well. Conor has been inactive for a long time. If he doesn't get the knockout or put on a very dominant performance in the first round, then the later rounds tend to favor Max Holloway because of his speed and because he won't need to cut weight. But as I always say, Conor is one of the guys who made history and helped raise the profile of the sport. The arena is going to be packed. It's going to be magical. UFC updates. With UFC Baku happening this coming weekend, let's take a look at what's going on in the UFC. We'll kick things off with MMA Fighting's Guillaume Cruz reporting that welterweight Carlston Harris has been cut from the UFC roster following his unanimous decision loss to Jake Matthews last month at UFC Macau. The loss extended the losing streak to 3 and his overall UFC record to 4-4, so it's not too shocking to hear this news. And Dricus du Plessis is a sizable favorite on the betting lines to beat Kamaru Usman when they fight on July 18th, but clearly Jorge Masvidal doesn't agree with that. During a recent appearance on the Deep Water Show on Paramount Plus, not only did Gamebred say Usman is not washed, he believes Usman could easily beat DDP. He said, "I don't think he's shot at all, man. I know he was winning the second fight with Leon Edwards. I had him winning considerably, then whatever, he got caught, got knocked out. Then after that, he fights Chimaev like on 10, 11 days notice, which I thought he won. Straight up, I thought he won that fight. Then he has the Buckley fight, which he looked phenomenal in. So I don't think he's anywhere near shot. I think he can still contend for a belt. I think du Plessis almost has to fight a perfect fight to beat Usman. Usman, I think, beats him 3 to 4 times out of 5 easy. He's too complete everywhere." Next, it remains to be seen if Sean O'Malley ends up facing Petr Yan for a second time. But if and when that happens, you probably won't be hearing O'Malley trashing Yan's abilities as a fighter. While appearing on One Night with Steiny recently, Sean praised Petr Yan. Check out the clip.
People in the community, people that know fighting, know how skilled Petr Yan is. He's as good as it gets at MMA. He's up there with Ilia Topuria level skill. John Jones, like he's all around. He's great everywhere.
And Sean O'Malley reacted to the video of Dustin Poirier getting arrested on the body cam. Check it out.
God, I wonder what is that? I mean, I know getting blacked out, that's sad. It's sad because you know he's just probably going through some You retire from fighting, you kind of retire, you're the man, you lose the crazy fight against Max Holloway for your retirement fight, and now you're watching big moments like Justin Gaethje win the belt in the crazy fashion, and you can't help but think, what about me? And it's sad. Not that that's what that's not the case for sure, but
America's champ here, and I've been getting a lot of feedback about my take on the Dustin Poirier situation. I hear you guys, and I just want to take a moment to acknowledge Dustin is wrestling personal demons and his intrusive racist thoughts. And I'll be wrestling Arman Tsarukyan at Real American Freestyle live from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, July 18th, only on Fox Nation. Arman, you're a spoiled little brat. You've had everything handed to you in life, and now it's time for me to hand you an whooping, Junior. I'll see you in Milwaukee, and hopefully you bring that Jezebel Nina drama. Tell her to take a break from selling farts in a jar to freaks on the internet and come stream America's champ serving up some humble pie to her little Armenian lover boy.
And PFL recently revealed on X that Cris Cyborg's next fight will be her last. Yesterday afternoon, it was announced that Cyborg is set to defend her featherweight title one final time against Ketlin Vieira in the main event of PFL's August 22nd card in Tampa. Garry signs with Eddie Hearn's agency ahead of UFC 330. Dana White is probably sick of being asked questions about Eddie Hearn, but unfortunately for him, Eddie continues to make moves that are making that simply impossible. Recently, Matchroom Talent Agency, which is owned by Hearn, announced that it signed Ian Machado Garry as a client. If you don't know, that's the same agency that Tom Aspinall signed with earlier this year. Just when it seemed like things between Dana and Eddie couldn't get any worse, more of Dana's fighters are going with his rival. In response to Matchroom's announcement, Ian posted this on Instagram. "Congratulations, Matchroom Talent Agency. You've signed the future. I'm excited to announce Team Future just got bigger. Alongside Vayner Sports, I'll be joining the Matchroom Talent Agency, who will now work across my commercial interests." And after the signing was announced, Eddie was a guest live and in studio on Ariel Helwani's show. While commenting on the situation, he clarified that he's assisting Aspinall with his UFC contracts, but the deal with Ian Garry solely focuses on his brand and commercial interests. Here's some of what he had to say. The news is huge, and the news is that we have signed Ian Machado Garry to the Matchroom Talent Agency and to join Tom Aspinall as the second UFC fighter. We're a sports agency. We're looking to represent high-profile global stars across sport and entertainment, not MMA. But of all the approaches that we've had, and I don't think Ian was an approach, I've actually reached out to him because I know his team and everybody around him. I look at this guy for a long time, and I love his spirit. I love his personality. He's a good-looking, tall guy who speaks incredibly well. I long felt this guy has the attributes to be a superstar. Our relationship is different from Tom's in that we were a lot more strategic with Tom and the UFC side now. With Ian, this is commercially. This is about building his brand and driving revenue to him with partners. This is purely to work on his profile and his commercial brand. We're really pleased to do it. And Ian Garry himself was also a guest on the show, and while reflecting on how the signing came together, he explained why he was excited to sign with the agency and raise his brand even further in Europe.
Yeah, I'm very happy, firstly, to announce that I've signed with the Matchroom Talent Agency. I think it's very big for me and my brand, and I'm very excited. It all came about a couple of months ago. The interest came, they reached out to me and my team, and I love the idea of working with them. I have a lot of respect for them and what they've done in the sporting industry. And the fact that they opened up a talent agency, I saw so many avenues to potentially grow my brand in England, Ireland, and focus on Europe. And I thought it was a no-brainer. When they reached out, I love it. I love the idea of it.
Now, of course, it wasn't long before Eddie was taking more shots at the UFC regarding how much it pays fighters. As we've covered earlier, Sean O'Malley reported that he was paid around $600,000 for his fight with Ayman Zahabi at the UFC White House card, and while discussing that number from O'Malley, Eddie went off on the UFC, but also the fighters for not protesting how much they get paid. Here's the clip.
You've literally got guys that are making more for an 8-round fight against a guy that I would beat than Sean O'Malley fighting at the White House.
Yeah, he said 600K. He said that on the Pulse End podcast.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And those guys need to stop being suppressed. I'm just shocked by the kind of mindset of, oh, well, there's nothing else we can do, really. It is what it is. If we don't do it, we're just going to get benched. We've got to do it, really. I can't understand that. Like guys like Sean O'Malley, the guy's a superstar. The guy's a phenomenal fighter. He's just been made to feel like, what, and there's a guy fighting on an undercard and like the fourth fight in an 8-round boxing fight that's making more than you. You've just fought at the White House and you've just done an incredible performance. You're putting your health on the line. You're the talent. You're the reason this organisation is what it is.
And what about Aspinall? Eddie also talked about the heavyweight champion, and according to him, Matchroom has already lined Aspinall up with deals that are paying him more than what he makes when he fights in the UFC. He said he's making more money now outside of the octagon than he's making in it commercially. He's driven over 7 figures already in terms of commercials. His own deal, his cloud bet deal, just another deal that's about to be announced literally today. His podcast, like this guy's social numbers and digital numbers across his podcast. You know, Charlie and the team, they're really smart people. I mean, they're doing huge numbers. But right now, amongst all the commotion and all that noise, you've got a guy that is one of the most talked about guys on the UFC roster. Then during the segment, he also said that Tom's dad, Andy Aspinall, has contacted the UFC and informed them his son is ready to fight again. So they'll be talking with the UFC soon to finalize a date for Tom. Ilia's coach provides health update plus return date. With the UFC White House event taking place just a couple of weeks ago, we've been pretty much in the dark about what's going on with Ilia Topuria up until now. Following Topuria's loss, he released a statement promising that he'll be back better than ever. However, the damage he sustained in that fight could change his career forever. Well, his coach, Jesus Gallo, recently appeared in an interview with Cerebro en los Deportes, where he revealed the current state of Topuria's health and even said we could see him back around December. He said the following: "Day by day, he already looks like a completely different person. He looks like he wasn't even in a fight, honestly. All the swelling in his face has gone down. Every type of bruising he had. What the doctor told us was that within 6 to 8 weeks, it should heal properly, especially because there was no displaced fracture. After that, for him to start wrestling again, to start doing things again, it'll take a little while for it to really solidify there. I think we're talking about at least 2 to 3 months, easily. If you saw us in a rematch or in a fight, it would be toward the end of the year, December. Who knows? We'll see." Who do you want to see Topuria fight when he returns in December? Speaking of his return, not everyone believes he'll come back as the old version of himself. During a recent appearance on Demetrius Johnson's YouTube channel, Paddy Pimblett argued that Topuria will never be the same because, in his opinion, his ego has been shattered. And you can't really blame him for thinking that. A lot of people feel like once that level of confidence is broken, it's hard to come back from. Anyways, here's what Paddy had to say.
I don't think Ilia Topuria ever comes back the same. His whole mindset, his whole ego, know what I mean? Like his is like, I'm undefeated, no one can beat me. Having celebrations the night before the fight. I just don't think he'll ever be the same. He's never had to come back from nothing like that. I've had to face adversity before, so I'd happily be his first fight back.
And during that same interview with Johnson, Paddy also mentioned that he believes Justin Gaethje is going to seek out fights with Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway next, rather than someone like Arman Tsarukyan.
I've seen him say in interviews before that he wants to fight Charles again and get that win back, and he wants to fight Holloway again and get that win back. That's why I think Charles could be next, because he could unify the BMF and lightweight title. And if Holloway wins against McGregor, that sets it up perfectly for that also. So you never know. I just don't think he retires, to be honest. I think he's got another couple of fights left in him, and I don't think anyone wants Justin Gaethje to retire, you know what I mean? Even though we punched my head in, lad, we all love Justin Gaethje.
Oh, 1000%.
And during the interview, Pimblett also revealed that he gets back up to 185 pounds the day after. Yes, the day after he weighs in for fights at 155. So as a result of how much weight he's cutting to make lightweight, and because he's still getting bigger, Pimblett also reported a move to welterweight at some point is likely. I'm still growing, still putting inches of height on and putting size on. I think I'm gonna end up fighting at welterweight in the end because I'm growing at the minute. And that's it for today's news video. Check out yesterday's video on screen now if you missed it, and thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow for more updates on everything MMA.